Welcome back from our break. I hope you took care of yourself and that you're ready for this Shoud, this channel with Jeffrey Hoppe, and with the hopes that Adamus really does show up in full force. So with that, as always, let's begin with that good deep breath. You know, yes, we all breathe, but this is that conscious breath. We're here as a group. It's not a group breath. It's each of us breathing with our sovereignty. Just breathing into the heart of you. Letting yourself be truly conscious and present. Take that good deep breath. Feel into you. Breathe and flow. Opening to the highest potential is such an important thing to allow for each of us. Be that good deep breath. Breathe the I am that I am. I exist. Breathe, flowing, feeling, and most important, allowing. So important now than ever. Breathe with allowing. Flow with it. Be with it. Stay with that good deep breath. As we get ready for Adamus, breathe him in. He's here. Breathe him in and feel.
If I needed you, would you come to me? Would you come to me for to ease my pain? If you needed me, I would come to you. I would swim the sea for to ease your pain. Well, the nights forlorn, and the morning's born, and the morning's born with the lights of love. And you'll miss sunrise if you close your eyes, and that would break my heart in two. If I needed you, would you come to me? Would you come to me for to ease my pain? If you needed me, I would come to you. I would swim the sea for to ease your pain. Baby's with me now, since I showed her how to lay her lily hand in mine. Who could, you'll agree, she's a sight to see, a treasure for the poor to find. If I needed you, would you come to me? Would you come to me for to ease my pain? If you needed me, I would come to you. I would swim the sea for to ease your pain.
I am here. I am that I am, Adamus of sovereign domain. Now, I have to admit that I wasn't trying to scare Shoud or any of you or make him nervous, although I'm sure it did get him a bit nervous. I simply had to make some big changes. I had a beautiful, beautiful Shoud all worked out. It was magnificent. I may give it at some point. But at the last minute, I had to scrap everything, change everything, throw it out, throw it right out the window, and kind of reorganize, fire and fall back. What I had planned just wasn't going to be appropriate for today. I felt into Shambhala, felt into each and every one of you, all of you around the world, and realized that my brilliant Shoud discussion for the day would have to wait. We've got some other work we need to take care of here. So I was late. Typically, I come in and chat with Cauldre the night before or the day of, but I was a bit late because having to redo it, I had to prepare some very special energies for what we're going to do here today.
Uh-oh.
And very, very special energies for what we're going to be doing. And I think you'll appreciate it. I think it's actually you that was calling for it. So before we start, I do want to do a couple of things. Welcome all of those who are new to the Crimson Circle. It's probably not what you've been used to in the past, to say it mildly. It's a bit different. This group here, Shambhala, they're a bunch of rebels, a bunch of pirates. They don't abide by rules. They don't do homework. They don't really even particularly listen to Grand Ascended Masters, but they're a magnificent group. They are what they call themselves pirates. They follow their own light. And at times I know it seems that they're not. They get distracted, but ultimately, when they get backed into corners, when things are at their toughest, that's when that energy, the pirate energy, comes out, and they are bound and determined to do this. Bound and determined. So, for those of you who are new here, we're a little bit different. Sometimes very irreverent. We like to have fun. We like to go beyond the machio. Machio is the spiritual bullshit, and everyone is subject to it. Every one of you who is on the path, sooner or later, is going to get caught up in machio. Then you realize it and you move on. For those of you who are tuning in today for something new, we don't have anything new, so you might as well go someplace else. Nothing new today. You know, it's always amazing that Shambhala, they're like, what's new? What's the latest? What's the greatest? And it's like, have you even taken a look at what we've done in the past? Have you even tried doing that? But today, nothing new. I felt into the energies and realized that we need to do a little bit of adjusting. We need to do a little bit of releasing today. So we're going to be doing several Shouds, or several Marabs today during this one Shoud. So I ask each and every one of you to feel into the energies right now of everything, of Shambhala, of the world. Feel into those energies. And if you haven't already realized it, there's more going on than ever before. More going on. And it can make it very, very challenging at times. It can almost rip you to pieces at times. But feel into the energies for a moment. I'm going to ask dear Linda Visa now to gather together the microphone. We're going to go out and talk to Shambhala in the audience. And the first question for the day is, but before we do that, one more thing I'm going to ask you to do. Contrary to what I often say, radiate your light, shine your light. But for right now, for all of you here, all of you watching in, just stop for a bit. Just don't even let it shine. Just hold it within here, within our sacred space, within yourself. No light shining, at least for the duration of this Shoud. So with that, the question is, for the first person, how challenging is this, what you're doing? Linda, anybody? How challenging is this?
I got that look.
Very challenging.
Very challenging. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you put it at?
Well, it depends on the day.
Right, right.
Some days are 0,
Yeah,
and I just fly all over the place.
right. Let's take the last 6 months. How challenging?
Well, the same answer would apply, but like yesterday was challenging.
Why? I thought this was supposed to be big party time. Heaven's cross, we're moving on, we're integrating our divinity, but it's challenging.
Yes, I mean I can like in the morning I went out for a hike and I just was having a grand old time,
Right.
and then I get my orbit, my circle of friends and family are dealing with a lot of illness,
That's a
and
tough one.
and so that's tough.
Yeah.
And then the political climate in the United States,
But I'm not up to date.
it creates like some fear for me.
Really? Why?
Well, people gunning
Are
up
you a
for, they're
Democrat?
like war on, war on. So
Are you a Democrat or Republican?
does that matter?
No, just curious.
I don't know if I would say Democrat or Republican, but I'm certainly not to the right.
Okay. Have you ever tried to be not either? Just stand behind that short wall?
I try.
You
I
try, but you want
I
to get in
try.
there from time
I
to
try.
time.
I
Yeah.
try.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
And really, I mean, it would be my advice, and contrary to some of the criticism I've received lately, I'm not even against voting. Vote if you want to, but keep your energy out of all that. It's just going to get worse.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
I mean, I-
worse.
That's why I keep
Like
doing those
worse,
walks
worse,
in nature.
worse. And not just here in the U.S.
Okay, now you're not like helping with the fear that bubbles up.
It's not my job. No, there needs to be no fear, really. And I'll say it now. I've said it before. It works out, but we're just going through a very difficult period right now. It works out in the end. There is too much light on the planet for it not to work out. There are you on the planet, but in the meantime, it's going to be turbulent as hell, and in the outside world, and possibly inside. And that's why I
And I
threw out
think
the
that's
plans.
what concerns me is not so much for myself, but like more for I guess my grandkids and stuff. I worry about them being in the thick of the violence.
Right.
So it's the violence that
Yeah. It doesn't necessarily have to go there. And we're not going to do a great big world peace kumbaya gathering or anything like that. We're going to stand behind the short wall, and after the shout is done, we're going to let our light radiate again to the higher potentials. But it's tension time right now. I mean, as you probably noticed.
yeah.
And there are days where it's very challenging, and that's why I said I had big plans for the shout today, but I had to throw them out. I had to say, no, we need something else here. And that's a good thing to remember in your life. For your plans, all your plans. I'm not talking about your dreams for yourself, but your plans. They're probably going to change, and get ready for it. I mean, so many of you are, you're very planner oriented, and you like having nice schedules and everything like that. Throw them out, or if you don't, they'll be taken away because it's changing so fast. You really can't have. I mean, you can have a plan for what you're going to pick up at the store, maybe, but the planning like you used to do, planning the rest of your life, forget about it. Goes out the window. And I know you don't like to hear that because, oh, no, and I'm going to make a plan and then I'm going to put my light into it and it's going to happen this way. Not necessarily.
Well, I would like to say while I have the mic, thank you for everything that you do for us, because I don't know personally how I'd get through all the turmoil. And you have like helped me tremendously.
Thank you.
And I want to say that. Thank you.
Thank you. But then you have to thank yourself because I'm simply a mirror for each and every Shambra.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
A couple more. Challenging. Is it challenging right now? Or are you just breezing through this, Vince?
Yeah, I guess, or I'm so ignorant I don't even know what's going on.
That's kind of a good position to be in a way, but yet you do know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Do you ever think you'd see the world like this?
No,
Look
I
back
never
30, 40 years
conceived.
ago.
No,
Yeah.
being the perpetual optimist, and it wasn't in my consciousness
Yeah.
to conceive it.
Yeah.
But standing behind a short wall, don't watch the news,
Yeah.
not invested.
But you can feel the energy, so.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So how is that?
You try and ignore it.
Yeah.
I just sit and do my Sudoku and lock the door.
That's good. Thank you, Vince. A couple more challenges on this in this lifetime.
Whoa, me again. I've been popular lately.
Yes.
It's been really challenging, very, very challenging.
Yeah. In what ways?
Well, for me, I feel myself, and that's not the challenge. I feel my lightness and my energy and my direction, but dealing in the world, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
And it's like a piece falls off somewhere, and then you think, okay, it's going to stay. And then something weirder happens. It's hard to, I deal a lot with just being alone so much, and at the human level. I don't feel alone at the spiritual level.
Right.
That's my challenge. It's just staying here, the density of this earth plane.
Kind of tough. Really tough. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's, again, why I kind of redid the day. Good, thank you.
Okay.
And one more. Challenges. Oh, she can run. She, from across the room. I mean, absolute other side of the room, and she had to come over. Yeah.
What's the question again? Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm feeling like pretty
Challenges,
spacey and quiet today.
Yeah, no problem. What about challenges? Your life right now, is it real challenging or not so challenging?
Yeah, I'm tired of even thinking about it, but sure, there's lots of challenges.
Yeah.
I get sort of sucked into the mass consciousness, and my identities are kind of trying to go away, but then trying to stay.
Right, right.
So there's doing my role in the world, which I know I'm shining my light, but then extracting myself from the mass consciousness and being like, oh, thank the fuck God, oh, now I can expand out, and that's true. So it's that constant back and forth of remembering, and then not forgetting that when I'm in the density, that I'm trapped. That lately I've been really just trying to be allow that feeling of trapped instead of fighting it, because I really don't like
it.
it.
Really kind of tough because you're in the school system, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. And teaching young children?
College and high school.
College and high school. That's even worse. That's even tougher. So how do you manage that? And
Yeah.
Being yourself, going through everything you're going through, and then you're right smack in the middle of that that mass consciousness.
Yeah, it's I'm at a community college, so not as much density as higher academia,
Right.
but still a lot.
Right.
But I'm also interfacing a lot now with higher academia, and it's I'm a little bit tornado for them because I'm busted myself in. So that's kind of
Right.
fun, because I
Right.
blow through all their stuffs. But it's sometimes it's tiring, or I can feel that energy soaking into me and have to let it go.
Right. Right.
So it's just a constant awareness of oh shit, I took that on, let that go.
Yeah.
Remembering who I am and not be in the
Getting
games.
exactly.
Because they're so in the games,
Yeah.
And I have compassion for that.
Thank you. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to remind each and every one of you that a long time ago, before you came to this planet in this lifetime, and we were discussing some of the potentials, what was going to happen. It wasn't clearly defined, but we kind of knew. And we were talking about you agreeing to finally allow your realization after holding off for a lifetime or two and staying on the planet. And I recall pointing out that it was going to be tough. And I recall each and every one of you saying, I can handle it, no problem. I said, but it's going to be really tough at times because you're going to be going through something very deep and personal, and you're going to also be on the planet interacting with other humans at one of the, well, not one of the, it is the biggest time of change ever on this planet. And your reaction was, I can handle it. Come on, bring it on. Give me more, you know. So here we are, right in the middle of it. Next question is, what word would you use to describe how you're feeling these days? What word would you use to describe? And that doesn't mean a book. It means a word.
Oh, come on.
Speaking of books, how's your book doing?
How did you know?
We talk about it at the Ascended Masters Club.
Oh, good. I had a dream 2 days ago, and and I was just he's used to my stories, so a lot of stories. And because I'm about to travel around the world for a few months, and first dreams about that were like, oh shit, it's gonna be really difficult. But then the last dream I had was, so my soul and oversoul showed up, and I was like, guys, listen, as a human, I'm gonna have this challenge now. I was on a bike, and like a bicycle, and they're like, oh, we're going with you. I was like, but they're gonna be bumps, okay? They're like, oh, no, we're still gonna join you. I was like, okay, I warned you. And then it was amazing. It was just breezing through. I mean, it was.
So you're going to travel around the world on your bike? Am I hearing that right?
I'm gonna travel around the world with my soul and my oversoul, baby.
Good.
So they're like,
Yes, this was.
yeah.
Do you realize, everybody's like, okay,
All
nice,
right.
but what's the word you'd use to describe how you're feeling right now?
Just like breezing through. Like
Okay.
for me, it's like just like slide, like so easy
breezing.
right now.
Good.
Breezing.
Good.
Yeah. Do you want another story? I'm just
No,
kidding.
no, thank you. Later. Good. Next, what one word? I mean, there's a word that just stands out. It's so, you don't even have to be psychic to figure it out. It's just right there. What one word?
Greek tragedy.
Greek tragedy. Yeah, kinda. And explain a little bit to others what you mean by that.
My life's been a Greek tragedy, and this last chapter was the end of a 36-year marriage.
Wow. And how has that been since the marriage ended?
Incredible.
Oh, good. So it was a big release.
Yeah, it was betrayal. It's all, woof.
The stories they could tell. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Couple more. How'd you that one word? How are you doing?
The word that comes for me is tenacity or
Tenacity.
tenacious.
Okay.
Both on both sides. It feels like there's just this tenacity on how things are being received, and then how I need to respond, or how I'm being present is needing to be tenacious, holding into allowing,
Right.
into letting go, into not holding on,
Yeah.
and being tenacious.
Are you being tenacious with yourself, your human self?
Right. Well, within myself, and probably because I'm saying it within myself, I'm perceiving it outside as
Right.
well.
How about you being tenacious with the master self or the soul self? Is the human kind of giving them crap?
It feels like it's a courtship.
Courtship. Okay. And then we're going to go to the Greek tragedy.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think I'm getting more aware of the master and allowing that.
Right.
And then it feels like there's so much energy with that. It's like getting acclimated to that. It's, I say, trying to get rid of a concept of there being an equilibrium in
Right.
this new space. There is no equilibrium. It's going to be whatever it's going to be,
Yeah.
and it's going to respond. And then it's like the humans kind of going, WTF? Are we going to be, hitting something normal? And it's like, this is the normal, so and so it's bringing up lots of stuff that comes up that happens with that. I mean, it's the inside. I can see the dredge, the fears, the anxiety. You know, before we started, it's like I've got the solar plexus. We're palpitating, which is a sign for
But
me.
you typically don't have anxiety.
Yeah.
So what's that about?
I think that's about me still practicing self-love.
Okay.
It's a reminder that there's some part of me that is still either hasn't fully accepted or I'm ignoring that is just coming up because
Right.
it's part of the energies that are happening.
So how many here online have had feelings of anxiety, particularly recently, last couple of months, when you normally don't have anxiety? Let's see a show of hands. Yeah, isn't it weird? And then you try to sleep with anxiety. It's not a good bed partner. So it's, yeah, a lot of anxiety. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you. One more. Leslie. Leslie. Hi, Leslie.
Hi.
John
I
says,
feel like I'm
John,
constantly
FM says,
rebalancing.
FM says, hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
He's been very present today.
Yes.
I'm constantly rebalancing.
Mm-hmm.
I work in a world of folks who are very challenged, and I stand, and then
Right.
I'm, and then I go home and sit by myself for hours at a time.
And the whole concept of balance, or throw it out, or what did you say? What did you call it? Tenacious.
Yeah, I liked what you said.
Yeah.
I absolutely understood what you said about you can't even think. I mean, it's just almost give up trying to be balanced
Yeah.
because.
You've all had ways of balancing. You kind of develop this, over lifetimes, but particularly this lifetime early on, you find ways of coming back, from difficulties, hardships, whatever. They're psychological games, for the most part. Let them go. And I know that's going to be really tough for a lot of you because you're used to pulling up this old thing, how to get back in balance. You go through a bunch of crap, you're thrown off psychologically, and here's how I'm going to get my balance back. Throw it out. It doesn't work, and you don't need it, actually. And then you go into anxiety. It's like, well, if I don't bring back my self-balancing tools, I'm going to go off the other side. Yeah, but you realize the other side is not what you thought it was. So, you've had this fear of going off your rocker, going out of your mind or whatever, and you've tried to stay within the parameters, stay in balance. Throw it out. It's actually doing more damage than it is good.
That's really good to hear.
Yeah.
It's really, really good to hear.
So good. The word that I felt into prior to this shout, it was last night, of course, sitting at the Ascended Masters Club and contemplating everything that's been happening lately and feeling into Shambhala. I came around and talked to many of you personally. And the word that was so apparent was sensitivity, more than ever. And sometimes it's difficult to get to that word when you're overwhelmed or you have anxiety or you're trying to figure things out and you blame it on people around you, you blame it on other things, you haven't done a good enough job of whatever. But ultimately, what I felt was incredible sensitivity that you're developing. Another word is just raw. I mean, you're just raw to the bone right now. Everything's affecting you. Yourself, your past lives as they're going through their transformation and they're really essentially coming back to you in their enlightenment, and the world. Incredibly sensitive. And in a way, it's kind of, it's a little bit ironic because it's exactly what you wanted. You want to become more aware of things. And you're becoming that way. You don't have to work at it. You don't have to do sensitivity exercises every day because those are just going to go mental and it desensitizes you. It's happening naturally. You become more and more aware of all the energies that are around. But the mind is having a difficult time comprehending all of it. You try to put the pieces together and you really kind of can't. Nor do I even encourage that you try to. Because it's being done again on a very mental level, and what you're going to be realizing is that the sensitivities and the interpretations of them don't need to take place here. They take place really at the master level, which is non-mental. But as I looked into Shambhala before this, I thought we really need to address this sensitivity issue. And sensitivity is a good thing. You become more and more aware. It's not like suddenly you're a psychic and you can read everybody's past lives, nor do you really want to. Not at all. It's like, can you imagine anybody wanting to be psychic in terms of doing readings for other people? It's like, it's terrible. But the sensitivity, that feeling of being raw and very vulnerable right now, very, very vulnerable. I'd say it's really exactly where you should be. But you're not sure what's going on. You're not sure how to take it all in. And more than anything else, that there's so much in the air right now. All the things happening on the planet and the craziness right here in the United States. I mean, it's craziness. But it's your fault. Well, I didn't think that was funny. That's what's your fault? Because it's the blessing you've given the planet. When light starts coming in at the levels that it is right now, it will shake things up. You put a bunch of light on the people on the planet, and it doesn't mean suddenly everybody is happy and nice and sitting around the campfire singing Kumbaya. It shakes up systems. And ultimately, it allows all the old to grow new, ultimately allows this planet to become the planet of high consciousness and love and true realization. But right now, just feel into a moment all of these institutions that are getting shaken up by the light. It's everywhere. I mean, all the shakeup. And when that happens, people get very panicky and they hold on harder than ever to their way, to the old ways, or they want to go back. And that's exactly what's happening here on the planet. And as a sensitive being, you're feeling it. And then saying, what's wrong with me? Once again, as I've talked to you about many times before, you take on things that aren't yours. You take on energies of whether it's politics, politics and all of the power that goes with politics, and you almost can't avoid it if you're here on the planet right now. You can try to avoid it, but it's still in the air. It's everywhere. And once again, your sensitivity, you're feeling that. So what I'd like to do is just a short marab here, but let's begin the music as we get into this. The big picture, what I'm trying to say is that, well, you're here at an amazing time. Sometimes I even wished I was down there with you. But then I go, no. You're here at this amazing time, and you're thick-skinned pirates, tougher than nails. And you put yourself into this incredible environment. It's like, can you imagine a movie being made about this? Being here at this time. Let's do it from the perspective of a dog, for instance. Like this crazy human, why did they choose to be back? The world is unraveling. It's not a bad thing. It's unraveling for the sake of being freed. Open up. But you're here in the midst of it, and you know, if you really look at it, you're the one that's bringing in the light that's causing all this. I'm not saying to feel guilty about that. I'm just saying recognize it for what it is. But my point here is that it is challenging, and what's really important right now is to feel into what is yours. What is yours? You feel the energies of the planet. You feel Gaia leaving. You feel that the entire planet changing in so many ways. I'm in awe. when I see how fast things are changing right now. Or just look at artificial intelligence. A couple of years ago, if you'd have talked to people about it, they'd have shrugged it off and wondering what you're talking about. Now it's everywhere. But the important thing right now is to feel into what is yours. And don't try to put it to words either. It's a feeling. What is yours? What is yours? If you really want to understand it better, again, try not to put it into words. But be the master here for a moment. Well, all the time if you can, but at least for this moment. What is yours? Everything else is not. Let your sensitivities go to yourself. More awareness of self. More relationship with self. For so long, many of you, this lifetime and other lifetimes, have been energy holders or light holders for the planet. But you're not anymore. There's a big difference between holding energy and light and just radiating light. Big difference. One is carrying a burden on your shoulders. The other is simply being free. As the master, what is yours? You see, all this has gotten so tangled up with the world, with other people, juggling other people in your lives, trying to take care of them, worrying about the world. You know, it's going to sound really callous, but you don't need to worry about the world. Truly, you don't. It's not from a standpoint of being uncaring, but what you have done and what you're doing right now, your own realization and radiating your own light, that's what the world needs. They don't need a bunch of quote-unquote care or coddling or worrying. It kind of doesn't really matter. You're doing what you came here to do, to shine your light, and you don't have to take on that, especially as a sensitive being. And that very light, particularly since Heaven's Cross, is making incredible changes on this planet, and this planet is not going to destruct, fall apart, go back into some dark ages or anything like that. It's just not. It's going to go through its changes. It's going to go through its own struggles, but the light that has come here is going to guide it. I have to amuse myself by thinking that so many thought that with Heaven's Cross suddenly, I don't know, everything is going to be perfect. Well, in a way it is, but the perfection was bringing new levels of consciousness and awareness to this planet. And anytime there's huge changes like that, there's got to be big changes that are occurring on the planet, and there certainly have been. been, 15 months since Seventh Cross, and the changes start at a subtle level. It's kind of like a seed of a tree. It's in the ground. It doesn't look like much is happening, but within that seed, there's a lot going on, and suddenly it bursts forth. It germinates, and at some points breaks through the ground and starts growing. And that's what's been happening. So much light, but it was working at the deep levels, and now it's coming forth. But back to the discussion. What is yours? I ask you to feel into that as the master. What is yours? The rest of it isn't. You can be aware of it. You can even dance with it. But don't own it. You can be very aware of what's happening on the planet, and you can even feel and sense it. You can feel there's a great sense of hopelessness on the planet right now. You could feel into that. But don't own it, because it's not yours. There's a great feeling of tension on the planet. You can get up in the morning and dive right into tension, but then realize it is not yours. So back to the question, what is yours? Good deep breath. Good deep breath. Good deep breath. Okay. Let's bring the lights on really quickly, really strong. That's what it's like. No, I'm serious. We're in this nice, kind of soft, easy place. Can you imagine how the rest of the planet feels about your light being turned on so strong? I'm very, very serious. Everybody's, turn the lights down. That's what's happening across the planet right now. They're wondering what's going on. Suddenly everything is illuminated and put into focus, and there's so much intensity. You can turn it down on them now. They're trying to get their eyesight back. Isn't that nicer? Let's turn all the lights down for a moment and just feel the energies. Everything, all the lights. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Now, even the backdrop, if you can. And this monitor up here, too. Pretty dark, huh? Okay. I'm still here, in case you're wondering. We're still here. And then everybody's doing their thing in the dark, It's kind of almost like cockroaches running around, And everybody's doing their thing, a lot of darkness, and then suddenly, on the count of 3, all the lights come on. 1, 2, 3, boom. All right, well, let's count to 10 or 20. They're scrambling back there. And it's like, oh, no. And blind them. Yeah, he's great. Good. And that's what it's like. Okay, now you can give them a little relief. And that's kind of what's happening in the planet right now. The light is shining on a lot of things. And it's uncomfortable at times, but it causes people to have to look at things, look at their lives, what's going on. And they do, but, it causes a lot of stress and commotion, and you're feeling all that, especially as you become more and more sensitive. So the point is that I've watched Shambhala recently, and particularly before the Shoud today, and it's like, We need just to do a little bit of what? Allowing. Yes, I heard it. One person, allowing. Allowing is your greatest tool. It truly is. Allowing is the best tool of all. It's really about the only thing you have. And allowing doesn't mean just letting people, circumstances, life take advantage of you. It's not about that. Allowing is meaning you're opening up to yourself. Call it what you want, but call it the master, the soul, whatever. You're opening up to that. The human stops all the planning. The human stops trying to guide the ship. You don't have to. And I know it's like, well, no, it's my ship, damn it. It's actually, it's your shit, but it's not your ship. It's kind of a funny one because you've got your ship. It's you. Your name is right on the side there. But it's really not yours. And I know that sounds odd. It's like, well, hell no, this is mine. What are you talking about? It's like, no, it truly belongs to the soul. You're part of it. But for so long, the human has insisted on managing it, owning it, sinking it at time to time, all the rest of that. But you come to a point like now and saying, I let go, I release. And it's not meaning that you're giving up. It means that you start to realize the ship is that of the soul, of the master, and you, all together. There's so much more of you that is ready to come forth, and it's now a matter of allowing that. It's like taking a deep breath, opening up, and allowing. With all the stuff going on in the world right now, with the craziness, and it's going to get crazier. But when you run into those tough days, whether with yourself, whether with others, you take a deep breath and allow. So oftentimes, instead, you try to go mental. You try to start thinking, what did I do wrong? What do I need to do? How do I bring back my balance? How do I protect and defend myself? You know what it's like? You just go crazy mental, and it doesn't do any good, and you exhaust yourself. You finally get to the point of no matter what's going on within you or around you, you allow it. At times it almost seems counterproductive or counterintuitive because like, I don't want any more of that. It's too much. But that's when you truly allow. What you're allowing is your light, your divinity. That's it. Your light and your divinity. And then you realize that you don't have to figure all this stuff out. You don't have to save the world. You don't have to defend yourself, protect yourself, or any of that. It is just about allowing. It's almost too easy. I should do like allowing for Shambhala, make it really hard. And we have to go through all sorts of exercises and commotion. But allowing is just that. It's really about the only thing you really have right now. Because you are, as the human, are going through so many transformations. There's so much going on. In a way, you're letting go of an identity. You're almost killing the identity to let go of it. And it's difficult. And you got all this stuff in the world around you as well. It's very challenging. Just take a deep breath and just right here in our safe space where we're not even trying to radiate out to the planet right now, just feel into that allowing. It's allowing the I am. And if your head gets going, you start thinking and you have to start doing mental about it. You're really not allowing. You take a deep breath and you just allow. You don't have to get into words or the mind or anything like that. It is just about allowing. Take a good deep breath and let it in. Now, as you allow, it naturally, trying to think how to say it, but as you allow, things naturally make sense, but not from the logic of the mind, but really the perspective of the master. And you suddenly realize the world isn't falling apart. It's crazier now, but it's not falling apart. You suddenly realize you're not doing anything wrong. You suddenly realize that you've been working on things far too hard. And you realize that everything actually is in its divine order. Without you having to manage it or work at it, it's just for you to experience it. As you allow, you truly allow, you don't go into mind games, but it's like opening yourself. In true freedom, you allow. And it gives you a better perspective, a better understanding, but a non-mental understanding. And you realize then how you've been working on things so hard, taking on so much that's not yours. It's actually been making this last lifetime on the planet a lot less enjoyable than it has to be. You just take a deep breath and allow. I've been talking a lot lately about imagination. Imagination, it's light. In physics or metaphysics, light is imagination. It's the same thing. You think of light as these beams coming from somewhere or whatever, but ultimately it's just imagination. So what's the correlation? What's the relationship between allowing and imagination? Feel into that for a moment. Try not to think about it, but feel into that. What is the relationship between allowing and imagination? A couple of things. You really cannot imagine freely and openly and non-mentally unless you're allowing. They work hand in hand. You can pretend to imagine things, pretend to imagine yourself as a grand being. But if you're not allowing, it's going to go mental, and you're just going to humanize it. You're just going to diminish it. As you allow, as you open up to your own light, then suddenly your imagination becomes the source, the center of your creation. So I'm going to ask, let's put some music on and really feel into this as we bring it to a Morab. Allowing kind of means, okay, I'm ready to move on. There's so much more awaiting me. It doesn't need to be limited by my human mind. And by the way, all of this is absolutely natural. It's going to happen anyway. All of it is natural. It helps to have an understanding of what's going on. It minimizes the anxiety and the fear. But all this is very natural. You don't have, in other words, you as a human don't have to work at it. It's just about allowing it. Allowing is saying, I, as the human, don't need to keep controlling and trying to manage things. I, as the human, don't need to limit things anymore. I don't even have to figure them out in my head. It means I'm ready to move beyond this identity. And I know you all have said that, but let's just do it now. Let's not just say it. Let's just do it. Okay, isn't it just awful, all the thinking that you've done and back and forth in your mind and trying to figure it out? It doesn't work. The reading and the studying, it's kind of fun in a way, but ultimately even that doesn't work. It's just a matter of saying, I let go. I allow. And then you begin to understand what light really is. You begin to understand what I say when light is imagination. You begin to understand that all the mental stuff, all the linear stuff has been so boring and unfulfilling. Your imagination is coming forth, dear Shambra. It's also causing you to become more sensitive, more aware, and at a human level, confused, unsettled, challenged on some days, other days, truly in a state of awe with yourself, but still too many challenging days, and we need to be over that. And I have to say that right now, where we are, 15 months or so since Heaven's Cross, is probably the most difficult part of your staying here on the planet as an embodied master. Right now is the most difficult part because it's that transition from really the human self into the master self. It's the most difficult because it's your past lives also coming to their realizations and then integrating with you, so you got all that noise to go with everything else. But this is about as difficult as it gets. I guess that's the good news. If you could make it this far, it eases up. When? Shambra, always when. Would you just feel into that this is the toughest, and if you made it this far, it doesn't matter when? You're going through such tremendous transformations right now. And the biggest thing is this new sensitivity. How do you even deal with it? You're used to being kind of sensitive about some things, but now this takes it to a new level. And when you're feeling everything and taking it all in and not even being aware of what's really just yours, it can be overwhelming. Now, when I looked at our gathering today, I said, we've got to just take a deep breath together. We don't need a bunch of new stuff today. Well, I've got a lot of new stuff coming up, but now let's just stop for a moment. Let's do a big master's pause right here. Let's just stop, take a deep breath, and allow. And it's a natural process. That's the beauty of it. You don't have to manage it or make it happen. You allow it. what's really happening underneath all this, your sensitivity and all, is you've been allowing light in and radiating it out to the planet, of course, screwing them up a good. Started to remember that when we turned those lights on before, what that was like. Oh, that's what the planet is going through. But even beyond the sensitivity right now, your true imagination is opening up. I talk about imagination, and some people just think it's you're making something up in your mind, and you begin to realize it's so much more. Imagination is the awareness of many other levels, many other realms. Imagination, it is the thing that also opens your other senses. You've got your human senses, but you have a lot more. And suddenly, as you allow, as light comes in, it opens these other senses. Some are more important than others, but it opens these senses, which is one reason you're feeling sensitive. But what's happening is you're coming back into kind of a state or an awareness of imagination. And not linear, not just playing around in the brain, but real open imagination. There's a lot of work done in the 60s, early 70s with LSD. Some of you are familiar with it. You are the experimenters. There was a lot of good clinical work that was done with it. And when done properly, with guidance, supervision, it was found to be pretty effective for opening up some pathways. Timothy Leary, he wasn't just a drug addict, he was a true researcher. And he really understood the value of having this potent chemical that would open doorways. It brought more sensitivity. It brought a lot of imagination. But it also brought the law. It would have been interesting to see what happened if his research and that of others researching LSD had actually worked out. It would be interesting to see how it could have changed society. I am not advocating, Calder's giving me crap here, I'm not advocating that you all go out and do it. There are natural ways to do it. One of the dangers of any drug or chemical is you open up things too quickly. You're much better off with a natural way of doing it like you are now. But it's interesting, and it's coming kind of back into the spotlight right now. Using what they call microdosing, using it as a way to bring back people who are very, very unbalanced or who have deep psychological issues. Because they've got some closed doors or doors that were actually way too far open. And it's interesting with everything going on right now on the planet in terms of the mind, that this is kind of coming back. But we don't need to do that because we're just going to allow it naturally. One of the after side effects of these medications is you go on it and you do your little journey, but then you're right back smack into this reality, right back in your old ways, and it's kind of depressing, really depressing. The thought was that if you open the door enough, and then even if that door shuts again after your hallucinations, that maybe there'll be some remembrance, and that there's some benefit from it, but we don't need to even go there. We're just going to take a deep breath and allow in a very natural way. Allowing is also trusting implicitly in yourself, in the master, the soul, whatever you want to call it, but trusting. And really what's happening, what I'm really trying to say here is that the imagination is coming back. The light is coming back, but it affects the way you dream. Not just your nighttime dreams, but it affects the way you dream. Your desires, your aspirations. And as the true imagination comes back, you begin to realize that your plans, your goals, what you would call your dreams, are relatively meaningless. They were very linear, very based on human needs and desires. They were very psychological in a way, but you suddenly realize as that imagination comes back that, well, there's so much more. You couldn't have planned it. You've been bringing in the light, and letting it radiate. And all this time, what it's doing for you is returning you to the natural state of light or true creator imagination. In the true creator imagination, it's not wasted on things like worrying about or trying to imagine or create a little bit more wealth, even a little bit more health, being a little younger, being a better chess player. The true imagination is far beyond that. And I know to the human, some of those things are important, but what happens is that as you allow the imagination to return, the little things of life, the little things take care of themselves. You don't have to micromanage them. There's a synchronicity that takes place. There's a natural way of all those things being basically taken care of. Let's take a deep breath here in this special gathering for Shaumbra. And allow the imagination. It returns very naturally. It's the light, basically, that's coming back, and it's the core or the source of true creation. Now, the master, which you are, by the way. I'm going to start giving all of you a bunch of my crap. If you continue to think of yourself as just a human, you are the master. The master doesn't waste their light or their creation on the small human details, because there is so much more beyond that. The master doesn't use their imagination to create things based on power, because there's no need for it. It's an illusion, and all the energy is yours anyway. The master doesn't use the imagination just to imagine themselves as a happier human. They'll actually use it to kill the human. Psychologically speaking, of course, not physically. the Master will use the imagination to dissolve the human away, to release the illusion of the human. Not to try to make the human a little taller, 10 pounds lighter, a little richer. Master will use the imagination to release all of the illusions of the human, or rather the delusions of the human. Let's take a deep breath right now and step aside to let your natural state of imagination, supported by other senses, non-physical senses, letting those come back as well. Just gently, quietly step back a moment and allow. I know you've been worried and stressed and had anxiety, and on good days had breakthroughs and had true feelings of just being truly in a beautiful place with yourself, but then the next day some of these rough ones. That's why I wanted to design this day around what's really happening, what's really important. Take a few moments now to allow that natural sense of imagination to come forth. You as a human have worked so hard on trying to create, and I found it very frustrating and difficult. You can create certain things with your hands, or through your mind you can create a house if you want to build one. You can create wealth, you can create a job or whatever, but that's not real, true creation. That's really just moving old parts and pieces around, putting it together in different ways. Let's take a deep breath right now in the imagination and feeling into what true creation is. I know it's been tough out there. But a reminder that you all wanted to be here right now. Every once in a while, we just need a little break like this to really feel into what's really going on. And yes, you're more sensitive than ever. Your senses are awakening. And true imagination coming back. Let's take a deep breath and allow all of that. Now, I'd like you to also feel into, in a non-mental way, feel into what it's like to be a creator. With light, with imagination, what that feels like to be a true creator. Hard to put into words. Very hard. But you realize perhaps that such a waste it is, such a waste of your own energy to create on small scales, little scales. Create little things to satisfy little human needs that would otherwise be taken care of by themselves. I'll feel that in the boldest way possible. The true creator that you are. In just a moment, I'm going to ask you to turn your lights on again, radiate out to the planet. That's what you came here for. But before we do, let's take that good deep breath of allowing. And then allow into your imagination and then allow into all that you have and can create. Allow into your creatorship. Once again, all this is occurring in a very natural way. As the imagination, the real imagination emerges, it brings about sensitivity, awareness, light, all of these things. Let's take a good deep breath. And now imagine going beyond. Without words, feel it, sense it. So Shambhala, let's take a good deep breath. Good deep breath together. We needed to do just a stop today, just a pause. And again, that sensitivity, making you almost over-aware of everything. And then when you try to find use your old tricks of finding balance and it doesn't work, today you've come to a new level. So just take a deep breath and integrate it now. And please do not try to figure all this out. In other words, don't go back on a linear basis and say, now, what did he say? What did I need to do? Take a deep breath and just allow it. And as you do, even if it brings up some human fears and concerns, you take a deep breath and remember, all is well in all of creation. Thank you, dear Shambhala. I will return. Thank you.
So, with that, not so many words. Just take some good deep breaths. Allow yourself to keep feeling into this experience without words. But more than anything, feel into it. We all got something from this, very individually, perfect for each of us. And we so hope that you enjoyed this experience. Thank you for being a part of the Crimson Circle and this Shoud 9 of the Illumination series. Thank you all. Thank you.
Be different, make a difference. Be happy and make it happen. Let's unite, but stay unique. Start freezing and releasing. Stop mocking and mopping. Start promoting and floating tonight. Cooperate, commiserate, collaborate, communicate, sympathize, emphasize, resonate, enjoy, embrace, enrich, and light. Just stay unique while we unite. Increase the good things, not the bad. Avoid the things that are driving you mad. Reinvent yourself, rejoy, recover. Just become your greatest lover. Enjoy, embrace, enrich, and light. Just stay unique while we